Welcome to the Horizon Audiofiles, a podcast of the Defense Horizon Journal. The Defense Horizon Journal is a professional and academic journal that features essays, reports, and analyses covering geopolitics and law, security and defense policy, peace and conflict studies, applied military science, as well as developments in weapons technology. For more information, go to www.tdhj.org.
Episode number 88. India-UAE, an enduring strategic synergy. By Vaju Sharma. Forging a comprehensive bond. Bilateral relations between India and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, have seen a remarkable ascent in recent times. The relationship is no longer confined to the diplomatic sphere. It spans into economic, cultural, and defense cooperation. Underpinned by long-standing historical connections, both India and the UAE share a mutual interest in promoting peace and development in volatile West Asia. Leaders of both countries further strengthened the ties, as was recently witnessed when Prime Minister Narendra Modi warmly welcomed President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan during the latter's visit to India on January 19, 2026. This visit culminated in India signing a $3 billion deal to buy liquefied natural gas, LNG, from the UAE, making it its top buyer. Additionally, both leaders pledged to double bilateral trade to $200 billion in 6 years and form a strategic defense partnership. Energy diplomacy through economic lenses. The Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, which has been operational since May 2022, has strengthened economic cooperation between India and the UAE. A notable aspect of this dynamic is that bilateral non-oil trade between the two countries has grown by more than 20% each year since it came into effect. This agreement has already been instrumental in driving a significant increase in bilateral trade, with the UAE retaining its position as India's third-largest trading partner and a vital export destination. Amidst a tumultuous global energy market, looming uncertainties in West Asia and evolving alliances of major powers have prompted India to safeguard its strategic interests and diversify its energy sources. The signing of a $3 billion LNG supply deal added a vital energy component, ensuring long-term, reliable energy imports for India. Under the agreement, Abu Dhabi's public gas entity, ADNOC Gas, will deliver a total of 0.5 million tons of LNG to HPCL in India over 10 years. This arrangement signifies the UAE's strategic intent to bolster LNG exports to markets beyond normative boundaries. ADNOC Gas also highlighted that the agreement raises the total value of its contracts with India to over $20 billion, thereby solidifying India's position as its leading LNG purchaser. This initiative bolsters the UAE's overarching strategy to exploit its gas reserves for economic revenue while reducing its economic dependence on crude oil. As per Dr. Deepak Mittal, cooperation between India and the UAE has been thriving in areas such as digital payments, local currency trade, artificial intelligence, data centers, food parks, nuclear energy, and connectivity. This economic integration, tied to energy security, is a strong pillar of the strategic partnership between the two countries. Comprehensive defense engagement. On the defense front, the signing of the Strategic Defense Partnership, SDP, has been a landmark decision for India and the UAE, with long-term implications for the region's security and stability. The new Strategic Partnership Agreement overtly embraces provisions for defense co-production, allowing India to showcase its Make in India capabilities while allowing the UAE to diversify its defense suppliers with sophisticated, cost-effective technology. The SDP owes its origins to the Defense Memorandum, signed in 2003, followed by a Security Cooperation Agreement in 2011 and the elevation of bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2017. The bilateral defense collaboration has been consistently guided by institutional frameworks such as the Joint Defense Cooperation Committee and service-level dialogues. With the UAE's military modernization, India's indigenous defense systems, including Akash, BrahMos, and LCA Tejas, have gained traction in the UAE's defense sphere. Post-signing of the agreement, in a press release, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri urged restraint in viewing the engagement as an indicator of emerging regional realignments. He emphasized that India's defense diplomacy across the Gulf and Indian Ocean regions embodies a sustained, comprehensive strategy rooted in mutual partnerships and unwavering strategic autonomy. Strategic posturing. The growing strategic ties between India and the UAE resonate far beyond their bilateral ties, carrying clear messages throughout the region. Days after President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan's visit to India, a notable development occurred in Pakistan. Significantly, the UAE has abandoned plans to operate Islamabad International Airport. The project had been under consideration since August 2025, but it was shelved when Abu Dhabi failed to secure a local partner and appeared to lose interest. In the backdrop of strained UAE-Saudi Arabia relations, conversely, growing relations between Pakistan-Saudi Arabia on the one hand, and India-UAE relations on the other, a Pakistani publication, the Express Tribune, however, confirmed that the cancellation of the UAE deal was not officially related to politics. Although presented as a purely commercial decision, analysts interpreted the move as a deliberate strategic shift, highlighting Abu Dhabi's preference for strengthening ties with New Delhi over its traditionally complex relations with Pakistan. Israel in India-UAE matrix. A significant advantage of the growing India-UAE collaboration is its increasing cooperation with Israel, forming a developing trilateral structure. This alliance is based on common defense strengths, the exchange of technology, and aligned worldviews on threats, acting as an effective counterbalance in the security dynamics of West Asia, in contrast to the more loosely connected Pakistan-Saudi-Turkey coalition, notoriously referred to as an Islamic NATO. Shared interests, rather than formal alliances, drive the tripartite agreement between India, the UAE, and Israel in the fields of maritime security, terrorism, and drone technology, underscoring joint exercises, defense cooperation, and intelligence sharing, among others. India, while countering the Pakistan-Saudi nexus, is spearheading the use of Israeli technology to protect trade and energy routes in the Gulf. This helps India in dissuading all parties involved and assumes a more dynamic role in promoting security in the Middle East. Structural and geopolitical volatility. The West Asian region stays notably unstable, characterized by dynamic alliances, extended conflicts, and areas of contention. This precarious framework significantly impedes the execution of sustainable bilateral initiatives. The ambition of augmenting bilateral commerce to $200 billion within a 6-year timeframe is exceedingly ambitious, however, it is beset by numerous challenges. Unpredictable global economic circumstances, including fluctuating energy prices, escalating costs, and supply chain disruptions, may further complicate this endeavor. In addition to these overarching challenges, enterprises seeking to capitalize on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, continue to face pragmatic issues arising from regulatory discrepancies between the Indian and UAE markets. A report from Mint indicates that Indian exporters express concerns about compliance costs associated with rules of origin regulations. These stipulations determine whether a product is eligible for reduced tariffs under the agreement. The situation is exacerbated by relatively low tariff rates in the UAE, prompting exporters to question the justification for the associated paperwork and compliance costs. Indian exporters have formally communicated these concerns to the Ministry of Commerce. Although the certification of origin remains a valuable metric for assessing the utilization and adherence to agreements, it does not always manifest immediately in export statistics. Nonetheless, firms are still engaged in evaluating the cost-benefit analysis. The India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor (IMEC), a prominent initiative in which India and the UAE are intended to serve as central nodes, now serves as a testament to the tenuousness of translating strategic aspirations into tangible outcomes. Regional security instabilities, particularly those arising from the Gaza conflict, have infiltrated bilateral relations that are essential to the corridor's foundational structure. The tension between Israel and Jordan, for example, has directly obstructed advancements on the rail infrastructure proposed within IMEC, hindering technical discussions and preventing member nations from assembling to further the project's action plan as initially projected following the G20 declaration. For India and the UAE, whose strategic collaboration has devoted substantial political resources to the prosperity of IMEC, these accumulated vulnerabilities highlight a crucial dilemma. Trans-regional economic frameworks remain contingent upon the goodwill of intermediary nations, the financial capabilities of involved states, and the incessantly unpredictable dynamics of Middle Eastern geopolitics. What was envisioned as a revolutionary geo-economic passageway now faces the stark reality that, if not addressed, regional trust deficits could undermine even the most carefully constructed corridors of connectivity. Conclusion. In the end, the relationship between India and the UAE has grown into a full-fledged strategic alliance based on a shared goal of progress and stability in the region. Deepening economic integration, lasting energy cooperation, and a changing defense partnership that includes cooperative technical development are all shaping its path. This relationship not only enhances connections between the two countries but also actively reshapes how things work in the region, creating a new framework for safety and prosperity in the Gulf and beyond. By matching their economic prospects and strategic interests, India and the UAE are working together to become important and long-lasting players in making the broader region's future stable and creative. Author Vaju Sharma is a foreign policy analyst based in India. He is pursuing his PhD at the University of Haifa in the International Relations Department. He previously worked with YN TV channel in New Delhi as a research consultant. He holds a master's degree in international relations with a specialization in diplomatic studies from the University of Haifa in Israel. He was also associated with the BRICS International Youth Forum in India from 2016 to 2017. The views contained in this article are the author's alone.
This was the Horizon Audiofiles, a podcast of the Defense Horizon Journal. For more information, go to www.tdhj.org. Thank you for listening.